Today I want to talk about building the base of our worm tower. The base is going to serve as a carbon sponge and provide bedding and a food source for the worms. And the ingredients are crucial because what we're trying to do in our garden is build healthy soils. And it begins with great ingredients in our composter. Think of your soil as a city. And in great cities that are flourishing, we have wonderful businesses. The bacteria and other microbes serve as those businesses. They deal with the day-to-day transactions. But as we all know, great cities are only as good as the infrastructure in the city. We need to have excellent roads. We need to have awesome communication networks. We need to make sure that we can get the goods into the city and out of the city. We need to make sure that the businesses and the people within the community can communicate with one another. So if bacteria serve as the businesses in our soil, then the fungi serves as the infrastructure, as the networks, as the communicators within our soil. So if we're trying to achieve fungal dominance in our soil, then obviously the ingredients that we use in our composter must serve to feed fungi. If an enemy were to destroy a city, the first thing that they would try to do is destroy the infrastructure, the communication towers, the fiber optic networks, the bridges. That's the first thing they would come for. Most of our agricultural soils and most of our gardens lack fungi. They lack the communication networks, they lack the logistics. And our job as gardeners, and one thing that I emphasize in my gardening course, is for people to build healthy soils that are fungal dominant. Doesn't mean we don't have bacteria in our soil. We have tons of bacteria and all types of microbes working in our soil. It just means that the ratio between fungi and bacteria is balanced. Let's start to build the base of our worm tower. What I'm using here is a mixture of about 75% wood chips from the cows and the horses. So you're going to see some of their droppings in here, but the majority of this pile, 75%, is made up of composted wood chips. For the remaining 25%, we're looking for nitrogen-rich products. Those don't need to be animal manures. They could be kitchen scraps, lawn clippings, hedge trimmings, and preferably, lots and lots of leaves. The main thing about building the base is that the materials are partially composted. That doesn't need to be true later for the other ingredients you add once the worms are added. But for now, for the base, let's go with something that's quite composted. We don't want to jar the worms and shock them when we have this fresh, ammonia-rich compost that we're trying to bed them onto. We want to gently introduce them to something that's partially broken down, something they can adjust to really quickly. I know this sounds like a ridiculous idea, but wood, chunks, firewood, whatever you have available, just not a whole lot of it. I'm going to build the base using some of this material. And the reason is because if I've laid a trunk on the ground like that, it's amazing when you pull them up after a few weeks. You can see red wrigglers actually moving to the scene to start to eat the fungi that's being developed on the wood. Now, not all of these are necessarily red wrigglers. There's different types of worms in here, but I definitely see red wrigglers, some tiger worms, and then just the basic earthworm as well. Some of you have been expressing concern about pests. Now, if that is a concern, we'll dig this thing down 6 inches, 8 inches into the soil, or lay some of this same mesh on the bottom, right on the bottom, and build your pile on top of that. There's one more thing I wanted to add before I start tossing this material into the worm tower. The porosity and the air that we're going to get throughout our pile is greatly appreciated by the worms. They like to thrive in oxygen-rich environments, and the wood chips allow us to get tons of air into the center of our pile. Imagine that. This is basically an edible bedding, a bedding that the worms will consume. It's kind of our late winter over here, but if it was summer, I'd be watering this. I'd be drenching it, but I won't have to because I know the rains are going to come. You can fill it as full as you like, but I want to start generating some heat. I'm going with half full. If you're not filling it full enough, you won't have the critical mass to be able to get the microbes to get active and to start to produce some heat for the worms. Now that we built the base and we talked about the importance of higher wood chip or lignin-rich compost in here, we are now going to proceed in the next video of catching the worms and introducing them to their new home.